5 on Tuesday. Got it. Tuesday, January 18, 2022. Call the Finance Advisory Committee meeting to order. May I please have a motion to nominate a chair for year 2022 of the Finance Advisory Committee? Okay, Michael.
I'll nominate Tom, since we've rotated the chair throughout this term, and he's the only one that hasn't chaired yet. So I'll nominate him.
I'll second that.
I was going to say, can I second that, or can the chair second that, or do we run into a procedural problem here?
I guess he would have to pass the chair to the clerk. But anyway, either way, we'll figure it out. But it's your turn.
It's okay for you to second, Mayor Marakis.
Okay, I guess I'll second it then, because I don't think the chair can, so I'll second it.
Okay, any questions or comments on the nomination? No questions? All in favor? And no one opposes. That carries. So I guess I'll pass the chair to the new chair, Mayor Marakis.
Thank you, Harold. I appreciate it, and thank you for the work that you've done as chair. So moving to motion to approve the agenda. Michael, Harold, comments, questions? None. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Can I get a motion to receive the minutes from the December 7th, 2021 meeting? Harold, Michael, comments, questions? None. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. We have no delegations. We have one matter for consideration, a memorandum from Senior Advisor, Financial Systems and Policy regarding property tax and water bill payment options update. Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Chair also. So this memo is in regards to property tax and water bills. So what we have found is there's a number of municipalities in York Region and beyond that are moving towards online payments for property taxes. And as you know, we've been essentially closed to the public for a fair bit of time since March of 2020, and we've still been able to receive property tax and water bill payments through that time. So what we are recommending here is to actually stop accepting cash at the town hall for property tax and water bills, and actually request that if people do come into town hall to make payments, they can pay by check, or if they wish to pay by cash, they can go to their financial institution and pay by cash there. This reduces a number of risks for the town relating to fraud, counterfeit money, and also reduces some of the costs associated with armored car transportation for managing the amounts of money that come in throughout the year at Access Aurora.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor Van Kessel. Before I ask for questions, I'll do the way I chair. So the recommendation is that the memorandum regarding property tax and water bill payment options update be received for information. 2, that the Finance Advisory Committee comments regarding property tax and water bill payment options be received and referred to staff for consideration of further action as appropriate. Would someone like to move that? Michael, seconded by Harold. Any comments or questions to the item and to Mr. Mayor Van Kessel? Michael?
Thank you. Through to Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel. Rachel, if they come into the town hall, you mentioned they could pay by check. Can they pay by debit?
Mr. Mayor Van Kessel?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'm actually going to defer these questions to Elizabeth. She's much more familiar with this. She manages the property tax and water billing.
Elizabeth, welcome.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. So in the memo, it does detail a table that speaks to debit and credit card payments and that much. That is all at the counter. So yes, if somebody does come in, they can make a payment with a debit card. It's just not cash. So it's an alternative to a cash payment. So that will still be available.
Great.
Michael?
I think, certainly as we've seen over the last couple of years, a lot of businesses, both retail and various, have moved away from a cash system. Even the LCBO says, please don't pay by cash, even to this day, and encourages you to pay by credit card or debit. And so I think that certainly, the time to sort of move away from it is good, because I think people have become a little bit more used to it over the last little while. Certainly from a security perspective, as well as ensuring that we don't have too much cash on the premises. I think all of that's great, and so I'm comfortable doing so. I guess in the event that somebody, for whatever reason, is challenged to pay electronically, are there exceptions to the rule, or how are we going to communicate this out? Through you,
Elizabeth?
Mrs. Wainwright Van Kessel.
I was just saying, Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel, whichever one. Elizabeth, I see you put up your hand. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
I see. Elizabeth, I would have said your name, but I still have trouble pronouncing your last name.
It is a tough one. One day I will give you the cheat notes to how to pronounce it. So through you, Mr. Chair. So there is still, people can still pay cash, just not through town hall. So they still can go to their financial institution with cash and make a payment towards either their property tax account or their water account. So there is an alternative place that they can go and make cash payments. We are just suggesting that we don't want to accept them at town hall. Some of the basis for this is banks have a lot more regulatory to meet with reporting on cash that comes through the bank, and it's monitored. We do not have that. So it prevents some of the fraud, them going to the bank as opposed to coming to us, where we don't have the tools to deal with those things. Was that all your questions? Sorry, I got distracted with the name.
Thanks,
Michael?
That's good. I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you, Michael. Harold?
Thank you. I think I'm in agreement as well. I always look at all issues in the prism of risk reward, and I don't see anything but reward in this. And this is a non-cash payment is where the world is going. And as long as there's a significant transition time, because seniors, my parents who are 80 plus, they still pay directly at the bank instead of doing online and stuff. And so as long as we give them a transition to notify them and to minimize inconvenience. Have you guys, through you, Mr. Mayor, to Ms. Wainwright Van Kessel, the other municipalities who moved over to cashless, what was their transition period? Was it more like 2 quarters, or was it a full year?
Elizabeth, did you want to answer that? Yep, go ahead.
Yes, so in our research, through Mr. Chair, sorry, in our research, we did notice that when they were putting forth their reports, it was never around a major due date. So it did give a transition period. So for example, we're bringing this report forward. We do have a due date coming up. We don't anticipate it's going to change anything before then. Unfortunately or fortunately, at this moment, town hall is generally closed, so people don't have that option anyway. It does give us the period until our next due date to be able to send out communications and build up enough advertisement so that people are knowledgeable of this. But generally, municipalities have had a couple months that they can deal with it in between their due dates and when their reports have gone forward for asking for this approval. But with the onset of COVID, it's advantageous to us to do it at this time because the service really isn't available. So it isn't a current option for them. So it's not really changing the status quo since it was in 2019. So really, we've been kind of in this situation since 2019. So it is a really good opportunity for us to take advantage of changing it during this time because it shouldn't have as much transition. We actually do already update our website because of the COVID environment, indicating alternative ways to pay it. So we do acknowledge and we do tell people to go to their financial institution if they want to make cash payments. So we're already doing some of the communication that would be required in this transition.
Carol?
Yeah, and lastly, through you, Mr. Mayor, to Ms. Kwachioki, Sorry, I tried. For a Brinks truck or one of those armored vehicles to pick up our cash on an annual basis, what is the cost of that?
Elizabeth?
So we do have a contract with them. Off the top of my head, the annual contract, I can't tell you exactly what it is, but it is fluctuating depending on how many pickups we have and what's in the pickups. So we've actually reduced the costs of that over this year because we have been doing reduced pickups because there hasn't been the need to pick up the cash because there isn't cash sitting there to be picked up. So the contract is set for the term it is set for. So it's not completely unavoidable, but because we get billed for the actual pickups, if we don't schedule them, we don't get billed for them. So we may not be in need of the full contract cost if we do not need the pickups. The other piece with it, when we negotiate the contracts, part of the insurance coverage in those contracts is based on the amount of cash that they could be transporting at any given time. So if we were to change this in the future, renewal of these types of contracts could be beneficial to us because we may not need the insurance coverage that we're looking for right now.
Harold?
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? See none. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a no-brainer, as we can see that this is kind of where we've been moving to, and I agree. I don't think that there's a better time to implement this, considering through this period, through the pandemic, we essentially have been running it in this way, a cashless way, and so absolutely. And I think that as long as we continue to, and as was mentioned, is we continue to be able to provide another avenue for the residents to be able to pay by cash, which is to go to the bank. So it's not like they're unable to do it. So I think that they're still able to do it. So yeah, I think this is the right thing to do in the right time. So I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. All right, new business. Michael? Harold? No? Motion to adjourn? Michael? Harold? All those in favor? Opposed? That carries. See you guys see you at 7 o'clock public planning. Thank you, everyone.